Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. This is Melissa and today I'm going to be talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville. But before I even get into the actual episode today, did you guys see that on Melody's live there was an altercation, it sounds like, between the Scots, I don't know if it was Marceau or Maurice or both, and Martel, and it all allegedly stems from Miss Wanda mentioning the Holt's children's names. And we see that when Melody gets into the car and says, what you guys are not gonna do is speak on her kids. You know, when it comes to her kids, Melody and Martel have a united front. When it comes to anything else, it is whatever. But when it comes to their kids, that's their children. So they are going to protect them by any means necessary. So I completely understand. But it looked like it was like an entire fiasco that took place. It looked like it was Miss Wanda's event, selling her plates, her weird looking plates, with her slices of bread on the plate. And that's where the altercation took place. Apparently, Melody put her hand in Miss Wanda's face, and I don't know how it escalated from there, but it did. But what I could say about this altercation is based on what I was hearing, people screaming in the background on Miss Wanda's live, it looks like a situation where every time there's a conflict, right? Their business is threatened to be exposed, whether it be by Martel or by whoever, but they're afraid of their business being exposed. So Maurice is always the one that steps in to say, don't let things escalate. And the reason why he has to step in and say that is because his marriage hangs in the balance. Because if ever it escalates to a point where he is exposed, then his fidelity is going to come into question. And then I don't think Kimmy would really look good in that situation. Because I also believe that if it becomes exposed, she will want to stay. But because it would be public and people already have this perception of Kimmy that she's strong and she doesn't take mess, people would expect her to leave. So that would force her to leave. And that is precisely why she uninvited Martel to her event. Because she doesn't want it to get to a point where he exposes Maurice and that now puts a magnifying glass on her, because everybody wants to know what will Kimmy do. But anyways, it looked like it was crazy. Now let's get into the show. So we are still at Jalen's event, and Miss Wanda basically repeats the quote that she was telling Tisha in prior episodes about don't believe a bee that gets you shoes, buys you shoes, or gives you shoes out of a box or something of that sort. The first time Miss Wanda repeated the quote, nobody said anything, seemingly. But the second time she repeats it, it becomes a problem about ain't no bees here, there's not gonna be any bees. So that baffled me. I'm confused. So now Marceau is speaking, and apparently it's Tisha's fault for not controlling her mom. And I feel like that storyline, that explanation is absolutely ridiculous. You can't blame this woman for what her mom chooses to do. That's crazy. Why is she the one that needs to control her mom? She didn't invite her mom. I remember in previous seasons, people were telling, even Marceau was telling Tisha, people are gonna stop inviting Miss Wanda to events because she causes drama. She fought back, but she eventually accepted that she's not gonna invite Miss Wanda to events. Okay, right? However, that wasn't Tisha's event. That was Kimmy's event. that she threw for her son. And so I believe that if any issue arises from Miss Wanda being there, it's not as a result of Tisha. It is Kimmy's fault, and Kimmy should be the one to deal with that, period. So this is where there's this disconnect with me. Why is it that they're blaming Tisha? That's what I don't understand. And it's really annoying me at this point. Marceau is talking to his brother and basically blaming everything that's happening on Miss Wanda. Now, if there were not any rumors circulating, there would not be any blame on Wanda. But because the rumors are now starting to infiltrate his marriage, now the problem is Miss Wanda. Now, this is where I disagree again. I don't know if Miss Wanda lied per se. Maybe she did. But you admitted that you were in Atlanta with a friend. So what I think Marceau does is he lies by omission. So he will give you a half truth, but the rest of it he will not tell you or admit to, because it will implicate him. He knows he was cheating, allegedly, on his wife, but he's not gonna readily admit that information. But I believe he definitely was cheating on her. And Miss Wanda simply brings light to the rumors. And that's why she becomes a problem. But you know you're cheating, Marceau. You know that you're a cheater. So stop that cap. Stop blaming people for what you're doing. Period. So Melody and her mom are at the house, and she's making or packing orders for her new rebranded skincare products, 7th Avenue. Prior to 7th Avenue, I think, yes, the name was Empress, but after she got divorced from Mattel, she changed the name into 7th Avenue, which I think is a better name because it's different, so her mom is saying that she's proud of her, and she's saying, okay, she's gonna have an event, and her event is just gonna be for the people she wants there, not for the people that I guess she has to film with as a result of the show. So I'm not expecting Tisha to be there, not expecting none of the Scots to be there except for Kimmy. I'm pretty sure Kimmy's gonna be attending. Melody spoke about her name change and the fact that she's now more comfortable changing her name, and I think her last name is Rogers, as per what Melody mentioned, what Mattel mentioned in prior interviews. But as far as her last name, her mom was like, I'm happy you're changing your last name because you're no longer married, so technically you don't need to carry that title anymore. And the children asked, and she explained to the children that when people get divorced, they change their last name, so the children are aware of her name change. My thing about it is, holding somebody's last name to me is not just a legal thing. It's like you're carrying on that person's legacy, so to speak. You're carrying everything attached behind that name to you. So I'm happy she decided to not attach herself to him in that way anymore. Because if you're claiming to want to move on and leave the drama behind, I would assume and expect that you'd also leave that name behind. So I'm happy she's done that. So we see that, okay, so Kimmy and Tiffany are talking, or rehashing what happened at Jalen's housewarming party when she left, because she left early, and she's talking about her attempt at making Stormy and Destiny talk, but it went left, which it did, because to be honest with you, I would say that Destiny speaks very condescendingly to people that I think she feels like she's better than. And Stormy picked up on that, and she rightfully did. She wasn't overreacting. She wasn't being dramatic. That is exactly what it was. And Destiny's excuse was, that's how I talk. That's how I talk. No. The person is not receiving it as that's how you talk. The person is receiving it as you're being condescending. So adjust your tone accordingly. And she just basically took no accountability for how she came across. Stormy reacted how she reacted, and everything just went to ish. And I don't blame Stormy for acting out like that, because if it were me, I would feel a certain kind of way, because yes, you are talking down to me. Like, you do think I'm less than you, or I don't know anything, or you are taking me for a fool, and I'm not that. So I agree. Kimmy says she's not gonna be hosting any more events, which she shouldn't, because clearly what she did was to conjure up some drama, and she did that, and she's noticing and maybe realizing that everybody's gonna blame you for whatever stuff that goes down, because you are the one that should be the one setting the vibe for the party, and based on who you invite, that's either gonna mess it up or make it go well. And clearly the aim was not for it to go well. Let's just be real about that. The aim was not for it to go well. The aim was, the show is starting to get dry and you guys needed drama, and so you guys did that, and that happened. The party was dry regardless, but at least there was something to talk about after. So they speak about working together and what the dynamic of that is. We found out that Kimmy was an executive manager, a big boss when she first started like talking to Maurice, and that there was a problem with like balancing time for each other. One moment it was her who didn't have time for him, and then it became about him not having time for her. And so it's because Tiffany is having issues in her marriage because he wants more of her time, and she spoke to him and told him that she was going to work for this year, and it was going to be just her focusing on working and being financially more stable in the relationship. He agreed to it. But when he realized that, okay, that means that I'm not having as much sex with you as I want to, it's becoming a problem for me. But they spoke about that. But the thing is, when you speak about things in theory, you don't quite know how it's going to play out until you do it and you see that some things become issues. And that's where I think they are in their relationship. I so agree with Kimmy on this. Like, you're talking about wanting children, and it's like you already plan to work really hard for 6 years, for 4 years, sorry. So where is a child gonna come in? That's the thing. Like, it just not doesn't make sense, and it doesn't fit into you guys' plan. It's just like, it seems like another obstacle that you're gonna have to try to input into your already hectic schedule. It just doesn't make sense. You already don't have time for your husband, but you expect you'll have time for a child. That just make sense to me, because it doesn't. And now she's talking about her trip to find her dad. So then they talk about the Atlanta boys trip thing, and how it would probably not be a good idea. And it wouldn't be, because the last Atlanta boys trip was a whole commotion on social media, and they're gonna do it again. Now in the previews, I see Maurice there, so he definitely attends. I'm not sure if I see Marceau. Marceau is claiming now that he has an event to attend to, things to do towards in regards to his business, so I don't know if he's gonna be attending, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does go. Now, do I think that Tisha would want him to go? Absolutely not. But they have to give this aura and vibe that they trust each other in the relationship. At least Tisha has to act as if she trusts her husband. And the only way to make him seem like he's trustworthy is to allow him to do things. But does she really trust him? Absolutely not. But what can she do? That's a grown man. So do I think Maurice completely knew nothing of a boys' trip? For some reason, I just don't believe him. I don't believe that he didn't know. For some odd reason, I don't believe he didn't know. I think he knew. Maybe it's because I don't trust him, because he's proven to kind of be a liar in certain regards. I don't know, but I think he knew. So it's Melody's event and 7th Avenue launching, and everybody's coming in, and of course Kimmy was right and Kiki was invited, and she showed up and she's greeting everybody, and then Stormy gives her this weird greeting, and as she starts speaking, Stormy kind of walks away, and this is the most awkward greeting I've ever seen in my life. So Kiki starts talking about it, but the bizarre thing about that is she's talking about Stormy in front of her face to somebody else, to Kimmy, and I felt like that was weird. Kimmy's like, Stormy's right here. You could tell her that to her face. Like, why are you telling me that? She's right there. And I also thought that that was very weird. Now, Stormy says she cannot get with anybody that throws her family members under the bus. And I do understand that. And I feel like this show is not the place for Kiki to want to get back at Tisha, or for her to feel the need to expose some of like Tisha's business. Like, resolve your problems privately. Why do you have to come on the show to do that? Now, granted that Kiki knows Melody way longer than Tisha, because we found out that she knows Melody since 2006, whereas Tisha didn't know Melody at that time. So the friendship that Kiki and Mel have been way longer. Still, it was definitely still strategic that Melody invited her to her pajama party. It was absolutely strategic. It was. And yes, that's your friend, but essentially she used you in a sense to kind of get info on Tisha, and that's what happened. And so Kiki decided to pull Kimmy aside to tell Kimmy essentially, why is it that you ran back and told Tisha that I said whatever and whatever and whatever at that event? And essentially what Kimmy was saying was that, well, my relationship with Tisha has not really been the best, and I'm trying to mend it. And I felt like that was a way for us to kind of bond with each other or mend our relationship, because now she knows that I have her back. So that's essentially what she was telling Kiki. Kiki was like, no matter how you relayed the information back to Tisha, you still went back to Tisha and told her regardless. One thing that I will say about this show is that they should name it Semantics, because I'm like, everything is about what you say and how you say it. If you want to lie, it's easy for people to lie by simply choosing either not to like speak on a situation, or to use words to kind of manipulate people's minds into thinking something that's not necessarily true, or manipulate people's minds into thinking that a question was answered when it wasn't answered. So that's essentially the theme with everyone. Kimmy, the Scots, Melody, everybody uses semantics to avoid situations. So essentially it's like Kiki was saying, like, why would you tell Tisha these things? What she was saying was truthful. She didn't say anything to hurt Tisha. She was just being truthful. And Kimmy was saying, you can be truthful and everything, but it wasn't really your place to speak on anything to do with somebody that wasn't in attendance. And I have to agree with that. Despite it being truthful, it wasn't your place to really speak on anything or expand on anything, especially not for Melody, because Melody has said that Tisha is her enemy. So why would you do that to somebody that has said that that person that you're talking about is her enemy? Now, granted, Kiki didn't know that, but regardless, like, I would feel weird talking about my cousin to somebody that is not family. That would be weird. And so I think that was what the bigger problem was. So essentially, that was what their conversation was about. So essentially what it is people are really confused as to why did you attend Melody's event at that moment. You never came to any events before. And based on what Kiki is saying, it was because she wanted to kind of fix, or I guess not be on Tisha's bad side. She was trying to protect her relationship with Tisha, so she respected the fact that Tisha was not really speaking with Melody, so she didn't want to like rock the boat, even though Melody was her friend. But clearly something happened to now you feel like, if Tisha's feelings, I'm gonna do what I want to do regardless, because she's not friends with her doesn't mean I don't have to be friends with her. And bear in mind, Kimmy had that same issue with Tisha, where because she fell out with Melody, she expected Kimmy to fall out with Melody too. And because Kimmy didn't do that, there was this whole thing about calling Kimmy a snake. So I would think Kimmy would understand that. And she said she understood it. So yeah, about the debate they were having about whether Kiki said she was there or not. It's so confusing because initially Kimmy is saying, yes, she did say she was there. And I'm confused because I'm like, they're playing the footage and it's like she never said she was anywhere. She simply said they have had the conversation about her husband cheating, possibly. That's what she said. She didn't say she was there. So then in one sense, Kimmy is saying it's not up for debate, it was filmed. But then when they play the footage, it does not align to what Kimmy is saying she recounted. You know what I'm saying? It more aligned with what Kiki was saying. So I'm confused, you know. Anyway, so that was just some utter foolishness. Kimmy ended up becoming this big liar. But the problem is people get fooled by Kimmy because they feel like she speaks so well and they get wrapped up in her words, as opposed to stepping back and trying to analyze what she is really saying. Because if you analyze what she is really saying, she's not saying anything. Or she's twisting up something, as someone said, to get from point A to point B. And in that process is just utter confusion. But they forget that part because, oh, she speaks so eloquently. People are so easily fooled that it's crazy. That is precisely why people end up in cults and end up drinking poison and dying in these mass rituals and stuff like that, because they just don't seem to really pick apart things and come to their own conclusions. Oh, the person sounds so eloquent. The person sounds like they know what they're saying. Whole time the person is like plotting to do something dangerous and they have no clue. Not saying that's Kimmy, just an analogy. Anyway, so now we're talking about the couples. They meet. So the Scots meet and they're talking about Kiki. And somebody made a very good point when they said that, how is it that Marisol has zero grace for Kiki and claims that he doesn't know her, which is insane since that's Tisha's cousin, but has all the grace for Martel, even when Martel is the one that brought up the fact that he had 20 girlfriends. Martel was the one that brought that up. So to me, that is more of a threat to their marriage than what Kiki said. Because the rumors, as Kiki said, are already out there. It's nothing that's a big secret. But what I think it is because Martel has more dirt that he can share. And because he has more dirt that he can share, they're gonna quickly get back friends with him because there's a fear there. There's a fear there that he will potentially leak their business. So because of that fear, he cozies up to Martel faster and easier than Kiki, because for Kiki, it's like, well, she's already being portrayed in such and such way, so it's easy to kind of make her seem like a terrible person. But is she really? So they're talking about Miss Wanda and the drama that she brings with her into every event. And for some reason, Marceau is like always putting it on Tisha to control her mom. If my mother wants to say what she wants to say, how can I control this grown woman? Like, who am I to tell her what to say and what not to say? She's gonna say what she wants. The power is for you guys when you're having events to not invite her. So my thing is, Kimmy talking about banning her like a joke is crazy to me, considering it was her event and she could have banned Miss Wonder from attending but didn't. So how are you now telling Tisha that she needs to ban her mom? Tisha has not had an event in a while, so there has not been any necessity to invite or disinvite anyone. She's simply been attending events, and she's not the one in control of who invites her mom. So how are they always putting it on Tisha to do? It's so annoying at this point. So Marceau speaks on. So essentially, what happened was that Tisha apparently was put in a very tough situation because I guess Kiki had to stay at Melody's house temporarily. And so they felt like they had to tell Melody, who were the hosts of Kiki, what was happening with Kiki. And the fact that she told Melody is what is the biggest issue in their relationship. But Marceau says that she had to tell Melody what was going on. Now, I don't know the ins and outs of what went on, but apparently she had to do what she had to do. So apparently what happened was Melody told Kiki something about Marceau's possibly being unfaithful to Tisha. Then Kiki goes and tells Tisha that, and I guess that's what she's been saying when she says that she's spoken about infidelity with Tisha. Either way, how it happened, she didn't lie. She did speak about infidelity to Tisha. Whether it was a conversation or not, she spoke to her about it. So that's not a lie. I know people, they want to make Kiki out to be this liar, but so far I haven't seen her say anything that's not been truthful. And yes, I agree that the company matters. You can't just say these things to strangers, people that don't know Tisha or people that are, I guess, new in the group and trying to formulate opinions about different people. I mean, it's kind of whack to have done that. But yeah, you were honest, but at what cost, to your cousin? At what cost to you and your image and people's perception of you? Because you see how Stormy reacted to Kiki. You see, and that was based on what she chose to share at Melody's party. So next episode, we finally see Miss Wanda's food truck. It looks a mess. It looks like it came straight from a chop shop, a repair shop, like it was the trash of the trashiest. But again, they're struggling. Are you gonna help Miss Wanda or not? Clearly, he's gonna help Miss Wanda, so I don't know why he's playing. He just wants to make her life a little difficult before he decides to help her. According to him, he destroys their marriage. Actually, you destroy your own marriage, but you want to blame somebody else as a result because they choose to bring it up. But everybody brings it up. It's all over the blogs. Like, you expect her to not go to her daughter and say, this is what I've been seeing? Like, of course she'd be concerned. We see Tisha's dad, I think that's either her dad or her uncle, basically confronting Marceau about the comments he made in season 1 or 2 about the family being across the tracks. And he proceeds to call Marceau controlling, which I think there is some kind of control with him. Oh my goodness. So it's like Marceau against the entire Scott family, the entire of Tisha's family, and that is crazy. They're coming at him back to back with questions. Weren't you at the hotel? You have so many girlfriends. You're doing this and you're doing that. That is too funny. I'm here for it, to be honest, because Marceau is full of ish. And he can twist Letitia's head around, but I think that the viewers watching and also his family watch as well, I'm assuming, you're not gonna be convinced. Because if you listen to what Marceau says and doesn't say, he lies by omission a lot. And he uses semantics. That's why I said this show should be called Semantics, and how the people use semantics to manipulate other people. Then we learn about Tiffany's family. We learned that her parents were interracial, because we know Tiffany's interracial. And so at the time where she was conceived, it was a time in history where that was something where people could be killed would be unalived, for simply dating each other in a interracial union. So there's a possibility that her parents are actually not amongst the living, and that is crazy and it's scary. Let's hope that she actually finds her family so that she could know more about where she came from. But if not, then all the best to Tiffany. I wish her everything good. And yes, so let me know what you guys think about this episode. In this episode, we saw Kimi tell a lie. We saw Marceau continue to lie as he always does. We saw Stormy act stink. And to me, like, you could not mess with somebody, but there's a way to approach them and interact. And the way what she did was weird. So let me know in the comment section what you think. Bye. Have a nice day. Like and subscribe.